Hello. Just set my dinner down there and I'll pick it up after you've gone. This is so awfully hard to get used to, isn't it? Oh, look, the stars are coming out. They seem brighter now, with everything else dimmer. That bright one there, that isn't a star. That's Venus, the goddess of love. May I tell you a quick story? Don't worry, young man, it isn't about love. The other night, I couldn't sleep. I was worrying about my son Pete, who I can't see now, and wondering if he'll have a job after all of this. He builds guitars, beautiful instruments. And when people are anxious, they stop buying custom guitars. But really, with the world upside down, wouldn't you want more music than before? Don't leave, please. I'm getting there. Well, I couldn't sleep, so I looked out the window. My window faces east, and I watched the leaves for quite some time. I always make a game of putting faces to the shadows and light. Do you do that? But what do you think I saw? Stars. A line of stars rising up from the horizon and into the sky. I was sure it was a dream. You see, my father was an astronomer, so it would make sense that I'd dream of stars, though it hadn't happened before. But anyway, it wasn't. I got up and I went to the back porch. It went on for some time. I counted 37. They went up and up in a straight line until I lost track of them. Of course, I don't believe in aliens, but I had to consider, is that what I'm seeing? Well, at least they're orderly, I thought, if they are aliens. Well, as you can imagine, I never got to sleep that night. I just kept puzzling. Wouldn't this just be the time the aliens would come? When we're isolated and helpless? Afraid to touch one another? But of course, once the sun came up and the world carried on as usual, I shrugged it off. "You've finally become a silly old lady," I said, out loud, just to confirm it. Well, on the news that night, I learned they were satellites. Starling satellites, shot up into the sky by Elon Musk on a rocket. Well, that gave me a lot to think about. You know, I've always appreciated starlings. A lot of people hate them, but I've never understood why. It must be the numbers. You know, in California, we don't have that many. Remember how Herb Cain hated pigeons? No, of course not. He was a columnist here well before you were born. But lots of city people call pigeons rats with wings and other nonsense. I had a friend once who hated ladybugs. Ladybugs of all beings. The magical bug of childhood. She said that in Lodi they would swarm in the spring. You see, it's all in the numbers. Like when people say that life in some place or another is cheap, they mean the numbers. I heard it once from a filmmaker I respected. She referred to another place, India or China, and said where life is cheap. It was clear she meant us to hear that there people consider life to be cheap. Not that she did. But still, it shocked me because she said it so casually. And by saying it so casually, I realized that she really believed it. Look, you have to go. I know that. I'm running on. But young man, what really struck me was this. This Musk fellow plans to put 30,000 Starling satellites into the sky, into our sky. 37 satellites is one thing, but 30,000? That's a number of another magnitude. Starlings, they always seem so happy in their own company. You see them at roadsides, wings iridescent like fresh asphalt. eyes black as space. A flock of starlings is a murmuration. Have you ever seen the videos of these murmurations? Their flights through the sky, synchronized within inches of one another, dancing in ribbons like northern lights. In space, would they follow a god? Orbit around Venus like a fluttering tribe? Form constellations in praise of her beauty? Starlink, not starling? Well, that does change things, doesn't it? No murmurations, no gods. No, I'm glad you told me. Thanks for setting me straight. No, really, you just run along to the next house. People need their dinners. But tell me, how many satellites do you think one man should be able to put up into the sky? You forgot your tip.